All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my thoughts and predictions on the first round of the college football playoff. So I'll be sharing my four predictions for the first round of college football playoff games. Starting off with some Friday night lights. You will see Alabama go on the road to play Oklahoma, with the winner of this game playing the number one seed Indiana Hoosiers in the Rose Bowl in the second round of the college football playoffs. So these are the following game plans that I have for these teams to follow if they want to go to the second round and play Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Starting off with Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma is going to have to win the turnover battle. Now, these two respective teams did match up against each other earlier on in the season, a good SEC matchup between Alabama and Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma that won that ball game by a score of 23-21, and excuse me, one of the reasons why Oklahoma won that game is because they won the turnover battle. They got 3 turnovers off of Alabama's crucial mistakes, and they cashed in on 17 points after collecting those 3 turnovers in their first matchup against Alabama. So if you're Oklahoma's defense, you're looking to create havoc, cause Ty Simpson and company to cough up the football and cash in on the turnovers if you are lucky enough to get some turnovers in that game against Alabama. Next, I think John Mateer, quarterback for Oklahoma, is going to have to play one of his best games of the season. Now, it's weird. If you followed Oklahoma this year, John Mateer is actually a pretty good quarterback in my opinion. I just think he needs to play mistake-free football. And I think the game, he has to get going so the game slows down for him. He did have 10 interceptions this year. I think he had a ratio of 12 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And if you watched Oklahoma in the first 3 games, you're thinking John Mateer might be a guy that could be in the Heisman run this year. Then he started to slow down and degress as the season went on. I think if he is going to give Oklahoma a chance to win this game, he can't turn over the ball like he did in the first game against Alabama. He's got to get going in the RPO game using his arm and using his legs to create success and have a successful pathway offensively for Oklahoma to defeat Alabama the second time around. So those are the following game plans I have for Oklahoma. Then you look at Alabama, and I'm pointing my index finger to you, Ty Simpson, because Ty Simpson, you are the starting quarterback for Alabama. Not only are you the starting quarterback for Alabama, but you're one of the top prospects in this 2026 NFL draft class. Prove to Alabama fans out there and NFL scouts and everybody around the country why you are deserving to be one of the top quarterbacks selected in the 2026 NFL draft. It starts by having an outstanding performance against Oklahoma in the first round on the road. Now, I know he's going to be facing some adversity. Alabama is not 100% healthy on the offensive line. They're dealing with some injuries. They're dealing with some injuries in the backfield at the running back position as well. But if you're going to prove to everybody why you're this top-tier quarterback, do it in this ball game in dominating fashion to help Alabama win this game. And I think if Alabama is going to win this game, Ty Simpson is going to have no choice but to have a stellar performance against Oklahoma, or be good enough to help them cash in on points and not turn over the football, play mistake-free football, and let the game come to him. And last but not least for Alabama, they need to get their wide receivers going now. Their wide receiver room, I think they could find matchups against this Oklahoma secondary. I mean, Alabama's got some good wide receivers, and they're known for producing good wide receivers over the years. They have Jeremiah Bernard, Isaiah Horton, and Ryan Williams. Now, Ryan Williams was in the conversation for being one of the best wide receivers in the country heading into this college football season, but he's having an off year after turning 18 years of age, or 19 years of age. So he's having an off year, but I think if Ty Simpson could get those 3 receiving options going and find matchups to exploit in the secondary, I think Alabama has a good chance of winning this ball game. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Alabama to defeat Oklahoma. Give me Alabama to defeat Oklahoma by a low score of 21-17. And I think this is a 50-50 game. This can honestly be the best game of the weekend. And I think this game is going to come down to which quarterback plays mistake-free football and helps their team get going offensively first between Ty Simpson and John Mateer. So I'm putting my trust into Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson not only has to play well to put Alabama in a position to win this ball game, but this is a statement game for NFL scouts and everybody around the country to make them believe that you are one of the best quarterbacks in the 2026 NFL draft class. I think if Ty Simpson could get his wide receivers going, or Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, and Ryan Williams, even though Ryan Williams is having an off year, they can have success to defeat Oklahoma on the road in this playoff game. And I think Alabama's going to have to learn from their first matchup against Oklahoma because, like I said a few moments ago, Oklahoma defeated Alabama the first time that they matched up this year, winning that game 23-21. And it was because Alabama did not play mistake-free football. They cannot afford to turn over the football. I think they're going to learn from that mistake because they turned over the football 3 times in the first matchup against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma took full advantage of it, cashing in on 17 points scored following those turnovers against Alabama. So I think you're going to see Alabama play their best brand of football, and I think they're going to defeat Oklahoma to advance to the Rose Bowl to play Indiana next week in the college football playoffs. Now, next game, you will have Miami taking on Texas A&M, with the winner playing the second-seeded Ohio State Buckeyes, the reigning defending college football world champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes, playing them in the Goodyear Bowl. So these are the following game plans that I have for Miami and Texas A&M to follow. Starting off with Miami, I think Miami's got to get going in the passing game. I think they got to get going in the passing game, and Carson Beck has the experience playing his 5th year in college. He had a good year for Miami. First year at Miami, transferring from Georgia, playing in the SEC. Now this year playing the ACC, and had 25 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I think it's very important for Carson Beck to get going in this ball game and get his number 1 wide receiver going. Malachi Tony is an outstanding player with the football in his hands, outstanding in open space, outstanding route runner, really good for catching the football. He's clearly their number 1. He's got to get him going in this game against Texas A&M. And last but not least, for Miami, they got to stop the run. If you could do those 2 things, you have a good chance of stopping Texas A&M from advancing to the next round. But I do think Miami's going to have to stop the run. They did a good job at stopping the run against mobile quarterbacks all year long. They played a total of 4 to 5 mobile quarterbacks. DJ Lagway was one for my Florida Gators, and they played several others. But the combined numbers against mobile quarterbacks, their rushing numbers for 5 mobile quarterbacks, they held them to a combined total of 74 rushing yards this season. All 5 of them had a combined total of 74 rushing yards when they played this Miami Hurricanes defense. So Marcel Reed, a mobile quarterback that Texas A&M has, could struggle to get going in the running game, to get his legs going, to help Texas A&M get going offensively. So they got to contain the quarterback, probably have some spies in there, and do a good job containing the run and stopping the run. Now for Texas A&M, their game plans, they're going to have to use their defensive line and their pass rush to blitz Miami and have Carson Beck under duress and have him under pressure throughout the majority of this ball game. Now, I think Texas A&M has a great front 7, and they have the best number 1 defense on 3rd downs, defending opposing offenses from converting on 3rd downs. And I think if the pass rush gets going, they get stops on 3rd down, keeping the Miami Hurricanes offense off the field, and get Carson Beck to make mistakes, get him to hurry in the pocket, bad things will happen. I think that will open the door for Texas A&M to get some turnovers and cause Miami to have some mistakes as this game goes on. And last but not least, Texas A&M's got to mix it up. I think they got to mix it up with Marcel Reed. He has to get going offensively, makes it up with his arm, with his legs, and they got to start off hot out of the gate. Foot on the gas pedal and never look back. They got to get going, passing the ball, running the ball. They can't be one-dimensional, doing one or the other. The offensive line has to win the battle in the trenches. The Texas A&M's offensive line versus Miami's defensive line, they got to win the battle in the trenches. And I think if Texas A&M could do those things, they have a chance of advancing. But, tough call. With that being said, I'm going to go with Texas A&M to defeat Miami to advance to the Goodyear Bowl to play Ohio State. Now, this is another 50-50 game. It could go either way, but I'm going to ride with Texas A&M for this one. I think the front 7 that Texas A&M has will set the tone in this ball game. I think they'll win the trenches, the battle in the trenches against Miami's offensive line. Now, Miami, looking at the teams that they played this year, they have not played a defensive line like Texas A&M all year long. And I think Texas A&M's front 7 is going to put Carson Beck in uncomfortable situations in the pocket. I don't think he's going to be able to read Texas A&M's defense well for all 4 quarters. I think they're going to put the pressure on him, force him to turn over the football. And also, Texas A&M, I just talked about it, they have the #1 ranked defense in the country at stopping opposing offenses converting on 3rd downs. I think Texas A&M could do their job getting Miami off the field on 3rd downs, keeping them off the field to put Texas A&M in good position to score points, whether it's field goals or touchdowns. They could win this game. And I think the RPO game's got to get going for Texas A&M. Marcel Reed has to get going. And I think if Marcel Reed can get going playing mistake-free football, Texas A&M can win this game. He's got to get going with his arm. He's got to get going with his legs. They can't be one-dimensional. They got to be able to run the football and pass the football. If they become one-dimensional, they could be in a world of trouble. But I think Marcel Reed will have this Texas A&M offense clicking. They'll put their foot on the gas pedal, never look back. But I also lean towards Texas A&M because they have home field advantage. The 12th man is going to be rocking at College Station. But Miami, they have only, they played some road games, but they've only left the state of Florida 3 times this year. Because if you guys remember, they did play Florida State. They did play Florida. They did play South Florida. So the fact that Miami has only played, realistically, a total of 4 road games, I don't like their chances on the road here against Texas A&M. And I think they will be advancing to play Ohio State in the next round. Next game, you have Ole Miss versus Tulane. The winner will be playing Georgia in the All-State Bowl. So the game plans that I have for Ole Miss and Tulane, starting off with Tulane's, they got to believe in each other. They got to believe in each other. And this could be John Summerall's last game coaching at Tulane, because we know he just accepted the coaching job at Florida. And John Summerall has helped this program go 11-2, guys. They're not here by accident, and they did win the AAC championship to be here. So they're not here by accident. They got to believe in each other and definitely have a better game plan than what they had against Ole Miss the first time around, because they got to score more points. Now, if you guys missed that game earlier in the season, when these two teams were both 3-0, they matched up against each other earlier on in the season, and it was Ole Miss that dominated Tulane by a score of 45-10. And they got crushed earlier this season. They only had 5 completions passing the football. So they got to score more points, be effective more on offense, passing the football, running the football. They got to do their thing if they want to keep pace with Ole Miss's offense. And for Ole Miss, I only got 1 game plan. Let Trinidad cook at the quarterback position. Number 6 is a special talent at the quarterback position. We'll see if Ole Miss is able to retain him, or if he'll go in the transfer portal and possibly follow his former head coach Lane Kiffin to LSU. But Trinidad, let this man cook. And their first game against Tulane, he was so effective in the RPO game, passing the football, running the football. He just had his way against Tulane's defense and really read the defense well and picked apart the secondary, because he had 307 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and also made some contributions on the ground with his legs, 112 rushing yards. This man had one hell of a game the first time they played Tulane. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Ole Miss to defeat Tulane here. Now, I think this game could be much closer than the first game when Ole Miss blew out Tulane by a score of 45-10. But I do believe that Ole Miss is the much better football program. They got the much better talent on both sides of the ball. And I am rocking with Trinidad at the quarterback position that will pick apart Tulane's defense. In the last game, guys, we got Oregon versus JMU. The winner will play Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. I'm not even really going to get into that. Respect the JMU for getting in, but I think Oregon's going to destroy them and advance to play Texas Tech in the next round. I think they'll cover the spread for sports bettors out there for a 21-point, 22-point spread. But those are my 4 college football first-round game predictions for the first round of college football this college football season.